The Israeli army also released footage of strikes on the seafront. They were seen battling holdout Hamas fighters and pounding targets in the Gaza Strip. This as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned of a long and difficult war ahead. This is the video released by the Israeli army of gunfighting raging across towns and cities. Thousands of forces have been deployed to secure southern desert regions near the coastal enclave. The aim is to rescue Israeli hostages and then evacuate the entire region within 24 hours.
אנחנו מפנים יישובים. המשימה שלנו ביממה הקרובה להגיע לפינוי של כל תושבי העוטף. הפינוי הזה צריך להיות בטוח, לסרוק את השטח, לוודא שאין מחבלים, להוציא אוטובוסים, לפנות את התושבים. אנחנו נסיים את המשימה הזאת ביממה הקרובה. יש עשרות אלפי לוחמים במרחב כל העוטף.
Well, the announcement came in after the Israeli Air Force struck 10 Hamas targets. The Israeli forces shared multiple videos of the strikes where troops on foot, in moving vehicles and in buildings were hit. Meanwhile, Palestine's permanent representative to the Arab League has submitted a request for an emergency meeting. That meeting will have all the regional bodies' foreign ministers. We do understand that the Arab League chief is now headed to Moscow. He will be sitting down for talks with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. The talks will revolve around the situation in Gaza. The Israeli Defense Force has released a list of soldiers killed in the last 24 hours. This as more rockets were fired from Gaza, sparking air raid sirens. The conflict continues to spread as Israel fired artillery in southern Lebanon. Hezbollah has confirmed it fired mortar shells from Lebanon into northern Israel, after which Israel struck with retaliatory action. Lebanon's Hezbollah group confirmed shelling Israel from across the border. Now, this raised another significant question of Hezbollah exploiting the situation for advancing its own interests, while not officially joining the war. Hamas launched its multi-pronged attack at dawn, half a century after the outbreak of the 1973 Arab-Israeli War. The war was provoked early Saturday morning. Hamas labeled its attack Operation Al-Aqsa Storm and called on resistant fighters in the West Bank as well as in Arab and Islamic nations to join the battle. Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh said the group was on the verge of a great victory. And for the latest updates, we have our correspondent Jody Cohen, who is joining us live from Ra'anana. Jody has been reporting on this latest coverage in Israel and what is happening in Israel under the bunker. Jody, it's good to see you, and I hope you're safe. Let's start from there.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm actually out of the bunker right now. The streets are very quiet. I have to say it's reminiscent of COVID times. The main street today, everything is shut. Doctors are open, the pharmacies are open, some food shops are open, but everything else in the high street is closed. More than 650 civilians have been killed, it's been announced, and 50 soldiers. The death toll is very high, also high on the Palestinian side. The IDF saying, the Israel Defense Forces saying that they killed more than 400 terrorists. Now, there's been a significant announcement this evening. Benny Gantz has just made an announcement to the country on television, and he has said that he is actually willing to join Netanyahu's government. Now, Benny Gantz is the head of the National Union Party. He's one of the opposition party heads, and he's also leading the polls in Israel. So he says that he's willing to join the government and also focusing on the country coming together and winning together, in his words. Now, Yair Lapid is actually the head of the opposition. He had said that he would be willing to join the government, but under certain conditions, one of them being that he would become the foreign minister and that Benny Gantz would become the defense minister, and the other being that Ben Gvir and Smotrich, they're the heads of the ultra-nationalist parties in the coalition, that they would be ousted from the government, and that they weren't terms that Netanyahu was willing to accept. However, this is still a very significant announcement from Benny Gantz. We're waiting to hear now from President Herzog, who will also be addressing the nation. He's expected to talk about the importance of rallying together to focus on the IDF efforts against Hamas. He's also been in calls with foreign leaders this afternoon, so we can expect him to update on that. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Eli Cohen has said that he's spoken with the heads of state of a number of countries, and more than 80 countries have expressed their solidarity with Israel, and some are even considering reducing aid to the Palestinians. And that's because the Secretary of State, Blinken, he's been calling on the Palestinian Authority, President Abbas, to condemn Hamas for the attacks. That hasn't been a statement that we've seen yet. And also significantly, the protest leaders have saying that in Israel, they've been saying that they're now putting all their energy and resources into rallying behind the war effort. So significant announcements have taken place this evening. The IDF effort is ongoing. The fighting is still continuing. We know that there are still Hamas militants within Israel. They're trying to, as a priority, to get the Hamas.
That is our correspondent, Jody Cohen. We are still tracking the developments in Israel. We'll try and get her back. Jody Cohen, we lost you for a bit there. But just before I let you go, you did mention the speech that the president of Israel is making at this moment. That is Isaac Herzog. And he also met with the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris. And they did speak. Do we know what they spoke about? Do you have information about that? And before you even answer that, probably you can give us an update of the number of casualties in Israel, because you gave us the number in Palestine.
So the Israel Defense Forces have just released the latest figures, saying that 650 Israeli civilians and approximately 55 soldiers have been killed and a couple of thousand have been injured. So a very serious situation. They're calling this the blackest day in Israel's history in terms of the military campaign. Now, in terms of the public, people are obviously in shock. People are questioning what happened with the intelligence, and also possibly if the computer monitors on the Gaza border, looking at the Gaza border, if they were potentially hacked. But obviously, right now the efforts, the priority of the Israel Defense Forces is to try and find the Hamas militia within Israel, strike back against the...
All right, that is our correspondent Jody Cohen live in Ra'anana. She has given us the latest update from Israel. She says that the IDF, that's the Israel Defense Forces, have announced that 650 Israelis have died at this moment, and that includes 55 soldiers, Israeli soldiers. Again, an update from our correspondent Jody Cohen, who I've just spoken to. She says that the IDF has confirmed 650 Israeli